Okay. You guys have 12 minutes. Your time starts now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are Group 5 PR Consulting, and then today we're going to present on our DBS case. So first, let's look at our customer. What are the millennials? So we should look at the millennials profile first. So the very first characteristic of millennials, right, is that they want to shake the world. According to our research, 54% of millennials started to plan to start entrepreneurship, and then they want to have a say in their everyday life and also have a hand in shaping their own path. And then it will lead to products and services that they have a hand in shaping are actually more engaging to millennials. So the key takeaway is that millennials want customizability in their products and services, and they want a hand in shaping their own consuming experience. The second characteristic of millennials is that they want financial services, however, they distrust physical banks. And then on the other side, there is a greater trust and dependence on mobile services. So we combine these two aspects together. We will have our key takeaway is that more financial services will be fulfilled by online mobile ecosystem. So how do we actually take advantage of the digital mobile development and become a market leader in terms of financial services? We should first have our aim in our mind, which is to develop our DBS Paylah as the digital wallet leader in Singapore locally, just as how WeChat and Alipay are widely adopted and used in China. So compared to these two, Alipay and WeChat Pay, we are limited in our functionality because we have few third-party services integrated within Paylah, the app itself, and also this status quo leads to a lack of vibrant developer ecosystem and interest. And this is unfortunately is a vicious cycle, and what we aim is to break out of this vicious cycle. So based on the opinions on banks and what they want, the first is customizability and second is digital convenience. We come out with our recommendation package, which is grow together hand in hand. So our first, in order to target the customizability, we have our first recommendation, which is a card that grows with you. So it's our DBS Horizons. Ooh. Then, so it will provide customizable card perks at each different point of our millennials. So it really follows them throughout their life journey based on different investing and spending pattern. And it's really a card that grows with you, just as how the name suggests. And then second is it focuses on growing our Singaporean ecosystem together. So it encourages third-party developers to create extensions and apps using the Paylah, the app itself, and through, for example, hackathons, online courses, and also student engagement.
Okay. So from our STI, we mentioned that actually the millennials, they want customization. But the problem is it feasible and valuable for the companies to do so in terms of financially and the significance of it? Well, Bain & Company did a survey in recent years, and they found out that what's important to the company's performance is actually how well they can manage the customer experience as well as their ability to capture their minds and hearts. And add on to that, Euromonitor also says that the personalization of benefits can actually drive customer engagement, card spend, and ultimately the brand loyalty. So from here, we introduce our recommendation, the card that grows with you to you. And this is not only capturing the hearts and minds of the individual of the millennials as a group, but more of the hearts and minds of the individuals within the millennials group. And since DBS has already have the pure SPKs and card part, so what we aim for is to attract them to use our other services when they grow up, as well as to retain their services. And the grow actually gave a sense of togetherness with DBS, and so we hope that them to stick with us along their life journey. So here we introduce our new master card for DBS, the DBS Horizon to you. And the first special feature of this card is that it is a fully individualized card. And by fully individualized, it is not only about the background, which you can choose from our pool of designs, but you can also upload your favorite photo and to choose it as your own background. But what's more special about this card is that we have a section where you can leave a message to yourself. It can be anything that's special to you or be meaningful to you, and this message can stay with you for the rest of your life. And moreover, if you want to update your cards like at any time during your life, and you can opt to change the design of the card, and you can change the message and all that. So the collection of the old DBS Horizon card will actually provide a sense of growth for the personnel, and they can see their developments through each phase of their lifetime. But the design actually can only attract the people in the short time. But what make them to stay with DBS is actually the services we provided. Currently, DBS have the Lead Fresh student card. You can see that they offer a wide range of services to us. But the problem is, how many of the services are you going to use? Well, I feel to most of the people, you are not going to use all because of your different taste, preference, and lifestyles in that. So, for example, if I'm not going to use the play function for this card, then I will feel like it's an opportunity cost for me to not choosing other banks cards that offer maybe more appealing services in the sectors I'm interested in. And this is mainly due to the difference in the expected income and expenditure of the millennials today. And they can be roughly categorized into 4 categories, which is live in the moment, high roller, super saver, and steady professionals. And because of the difference in habits, this will lead to different level of risk aversion to them, as well as the service they want to choose from. But it is unreasonable for DBS to target only one of the segments because it has the largest market share in Singapore. What we are going to do is we are going to capture the whole market, but we are not going to do the mass marketing method. What we are going to do is we are going to give the freedom of choice to the individuals and to let them to choose the service they want to do with us. And so the DBS Horizon card will actually provide more relevant benefits to the individuals, and the benefits we offer is greater than what we offered previously, but you can choose a maximum of 3 choices from them. For example, if you like to shop, then you can choose the cashback services, or if you like to travel, then you may want to consider the travel shield premiums. And with this, we hope that we can provide a very special experience to the millennials.
So let us take a look at our second recommendation, which aims to propel DBS PayLah to being the market leader in the mobile payment services market. This will be done by setting 2 simple goals. Firstly, to increase the breadth of services that DBS PayLah has to offer by creating a developer-friendly ecosystem. And secondly, to engage the millennials in the development of the services for DBS PayLah so that they can have a say in the services that they will enjoy in the future. This will be done through 3 simple steps. Firstly, the organization of competitions through hackathons or business case competitions to increase the pool of tools and resources available to developers, be it DBS developers or third-party developers, so as to increase the number of extensions and services that DBS PayLah has to offer. Secondly, we'll increase the number of content and materials that can teach interested individuals and millennials how to program their own mobile payment services. This will increase interest towards the development of PayLah's mobile payment services. And lastly, we'll also recruit campus ambassadors at the various universities to engage their millennial peers so as to spur their interest towards the development of DBS PayLah services. So let us take a look at our implementation timeline. There are 2 key points to note for the implementation of DBS Horizon. Firstly, we'll be using 1 whole year to examine the consumption pattern of our customers before coming up with the perks and benefits that we can offer in our card. This is so that the results that we gather is not subjected to seasonal changes. And secondly, the advertising efforts will begin in the 2nd quarter of the year, where most of the millennials in universities are scheduled to graduate, and they'll be looking to source for information on potential banking services, and we'll be doing a comparison. And as for the implementation of our second recommendation, the key point worth noting here is that we'll be using advertisements and broadcasting to spur interest of the millennials towards the development of DBS services, and through the competitions, we hope to increase their interest towards the development.
Through our hand-in-hand strategy, we will allow DBS to strengthen its relationships with the youth segment of the customer base. This will be done through the achievement of 2 goals, the first of which is accelerating the adoption of DBS personal accounts by millennials. And this can be measured by an annual increase of 30% of millennials subscribing to DBS's services and an increase of 15% of customer deposits from millennials. The second goal is to propel PayLah into the market leader for mobile payments in Singapore by increasing the breadth of services that DBS PayLah has to offer. And the success of this can be measured in two ways. The first of which is an annual increase of 3 services tied together in the PayLah ecosystem, either by DBS or third parties, and as well as an 80% market share of the local payments market in 5 years, so as to achieve market leadership. We have 2 risks and mitigations to talk about today. The first of which is that customers may feel decision fatigue from choosing from many perks that DBS Horizons has to offer. We mitigate this by offering standard packages that customer can choose from by basing them on the different archetypes of the millennial. In case this still happens, we can integrate these options into the existing Live Fresh card so that customizability is an option but not the default. The second risk is that third-party developers, spurred on by the buzz in payments, will actually choose to develop for other platforms instead of DBS PayLah. We mitigate this by creating our resources and our events centered around using DBS PayLah's infrastructure as a base, so that DBS PayLah is the go-to and the best practices for development in the Singapore mobile payment scene. In case this still happens, we increase the interfaces and the APIs that we can allow DBS PayLah to integrate with third-party services, so that third-party developers have no reason to exclude us from their offerings. We are relying heavily on word of mouth and social media to advertise, and thus the cost of implementation of our suggestions is small compared to the tangible benefits. $1.5 billion is but a drop in the bucket of the $206 billion cash that we spent on investment in 2016. As our customers grow, DBS needs to evolve alongside them. By adopting our hand-in-hand strategy, millennials will feel connected to us on a level greater than simply bank and customer. This ensures that DBS remains the premier bank of Singapore in the years to come. Thank you.
Okay, finally Q&A starts now. Just now you mentioned that you will take 1 year for the DBS Horizons card, you analyze all the customers' expenditures and etc. Right? So, how is it that you're going to continue on from there? Like, once you introduce the card, in the years to come, how is it that you're going to still make it relevant? And what happens if, let's say, other banks try to make an imitation or try to copy whatever they're doing? How is it that you're going to resort to tackle this competition if it arises?
So after the card is actually released, we'll still be monitoring their spending patterns, where they like to go, and through looking at this, we'll find the more relevant places to them, where they like to shop at supermarkets and all this, and we'll gather all these comon trends that we observe and offer them in our card, so that they will always remain relevant to our customers. And as for competitors who enter the market, as we believe that since DBS PayLah is coming up, since DBS Horizons is coming out first, most of the millennials will subscribe to it, and through word of mouth, it keeps spreading it to millennials to come. And through this, we believe that you'll be able to gain market leadership in targeting the millennials.
I think one key, to add on to this, one key point to make is that the first mover advantage for this strategy is huge. The stickiness of the strategy of a card that goes with you means that once you are with our plan, you do not switch. As well as the fact that DBS has a subsidiary POSB, which means that the referral from these new to the workforce individuals will be much greater than those of other banks. And these are our 2 key competitive advantages.
Okay, so add on to that, I think, we can not only looking at this solution as an individual solution, but we also introduced the second solution, which is the DBS PayLah, and we aim to achieve 80% of market share in recent years. So with this, I feel that DBS will become the bank that is the goal for the millennials, and with this, I think this will add on to the DBS Horizon account we have, and to let them to stick to DBS service instead of going to other bank services with similar offers.
Just to add on to the point about the customizability, because actually one great advantage of customizability is that it actually provides free market research. Because once for example, for the very first year after the implementation, we can actually look at how is what exactly is the customer, the design pattern or the parts pattern that they actually use through the customizability itself. So it will become a virtuous cycle, so that we will know, so we will adapt to that, we will adjust according to that.
I have 3 questions. We'll ask you the first one first. You guys are setting a target of 80% of the payments ecosystem in Singapore, right? How are you planning to achieve that? Because 80% is pretty high. So do you guys have any plans to ensure you keep 80% or?
What's actually interesting is that if we take a look at the market of China, WeChat and Alipay actually obtain 94% of the mobile payments together combined.
Yeah.
In the absence of a strong competitor, by having our first mover advantage and building off our resources on DBS PayLah's infrastructure, we see that our 80% target is actually conservative.
Okay. But the dynamics between DBS and WeChat is quite different, right? Because they are a communications platform which kind of give them that network effect, right? So do you think that there will be any issues that you'll be facing as DBS to enter, like, to hit the 80% targets?
I think there's a key difference between the Singapore market and the Chinese market, which is that the Chinese consumers, they don't mind having all-in-one apps.
Okay.
Whereas for us, we are more security conscious and privacy conscious.
Okay.
Therefore, having a wider range of services that integrates with existing services such as Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp, will be able to achieve these goals.
Okay. Right. So my second question, right? In one of your recommendations, you are trying to suggest for a stronger cashback, stronger benefits and stuff. How does that go into the financing? How are you ensuring that you're able to stay profitable with this kind?
So what's important to note here is that although each individual perk is slightly better than normal offerings, the number of perks are cut down so that we have cut down on the cost. At the end of the day, everything will balance out together. Everything will balance out to be around the same as a Live Fresh card or a Friend card, but what they have is that they enjoy 100% of the benefits that their card has to offer.
Okay. Instead of having benefits to use.
The main point is about the relevance. They only choose the relevant parts that they enjoy, so it doesn't really affect how much the revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, and also add on to that, it is not saying that if they use the current Live Fresh card, they are not going to use all the services. It's just that they use it very rarely. But from here is maybe they use the other small, but they are for example, if you want to go travel, then you want the hotel. But if you now don't opt for the DS Horizon card, then you may not use the function of that. So yeah, it's kind of a trade-off.
Okay. Then for my last question, right? You guys were suggesting hackathons for third-party development of cash e-wallet and stuff like that. Are there any legality issues with this? Do you guys have any understanding of will there be any, resistance for this particular thing? Because having a third party come in means that there are more risks involved, right?
So the legality issues in financial services mainly come from AMC and KYC, which is know your customers and anti-money laundering. The fact is that everything will still be handled by DBS PayLah. In other words, the cash is held within our bank. Therefore, we provide AMC and KYC.
Okay.
Whereas for the third parties, they simply provide the networking. In other words, they connect services to DBS PayLah.
Okay. Alright. Any questions? Okay, yeah, that's it. Thanks. Thank you very much.
The person is different in the sense that the benefits received is only because currently now DBS is maybe 100 different but you only use maybe 1 or 2.
Okay, everything is okay, so
from what I can see,
we kind of have to wait for the other side to finish up first. So you guys can go for a toilet break or one of us. And your group have mentor, right?
yeah.
Mentor, okay. Yeah. You guys saw that present, right? Okay, you need feedback. Your mentor is here. You guys don't have mentor, right? Okay, I'll give you a feedback. But you guys can go for a toilet break. Come back by 10:40.
But then
Right, next guys.
survey actually show that 9 out of 10 Singaporeans still prefer cash. So that 80% of market share might not even be segregable among in absolute terms. So I don't know, I'm not asking why they focus on payment instead of other services.
I need to
But then they didn't give any opportunity.
I went to fetch him, that's why I'm late. Otherwise I'm he made me go and fetch him.
Matching sort of, the colour is a lot of purple.
Is it still running?
It's still running.
It's still running, right?
There's a green light.
There's a green light, yeah.
What's his password?
Later we will.
Do you want to stop the video?
Stop. His password is Brandon Look.
No, you just told everyone.
He just changed it. Oh, he just changed it so that we can do this. Yeah.